Good morning. Good morning, beautiful people. Welcome to Columbia. How many Clemson fans do we have? Always love to say, people say, woo-hoo! Woo-hoo! I'm from Greenwood County, so even though I live here, I am a Tiger fan. Crucified that I am. Okay? And then, all the Gamecock fans, we're happy to have you two today. Welcome to Great Video Columbia. If you are new to federal programs, welcome. We're glad to see you. I want to say thank you for driving in. I realize that a lot of you drove from all over the state. Some of you spent the night, some of you will spend the night tonight. That's great. If that is you, but thank you for your participation. Good to see your face. If you are new, I am Jennifer Rhodes. I'm the team lead for the Consolidated Finance and Applications team. So what does that mean? That just means that my team oversees currently Title I, 2, 4, 5, and N&D. Okay, and then we have a couple of other team leads who are here with us today. I saw C.R. Hall, she's back there. If you want to stand and raise your hand. That's it. I don't think I see Zach or Barrett yet, but glad to have her. And I want to introduce my team. So if you're on Team CFA, if you'll stand up, because I know you're spread out. Let me just say that I am proud to work with these women. And I did say women, I don't have any men on my team, that's not purposeful, but these are some strong, powerful women. They have done an excellent job in support of federal programs. So this is Sarah Wagers, we have Martha Walker, Sheree Mosley, Leslie Blows, Teresa Gregory, and Makisha Sumter. So that is my team. After a little while today, we'll kind of talk about which one of these ladies will be there to support you in your district. We are going to do a little bit of a shake-up for your program manager for your district. We'll talk about that today because we're going to be bringing Makisha on as a program manager. So later today, we'll talk about that. A couple of housekeeping notes. If you need to go to the restroom and we are not on break, please feel free to get up, go to the restroom. It's out this way on the right. You probably saw the email that I sent about just bringing in a thermos into this venue. They have asked that we not bring our Starbucks cup in or anything like that. So any liquid that you bring in, it needs to be in a thermos for today and tomorrow. So after lunch, you can come back in with your salsaritas cup. Thermos only. Another thing they wanted us to note is that laptops will have to be charged like as needed. And so the laptop charging station is this table back here near the door. And so you may want to keep that in mind as that is limited. So if you're the kind of person who might take it down, put it back up if you don't want to move to that table to charge. All right, so that's some housekeeping things that we want to know. Lunch will be on your own. We'll try to do that around 11:30. But if we do not pause to take a restroom break and you need to excuse yourself, please feel free to do so. So before we jump into coordinators training, Jewel is going to come and she's going to kind of speak to where we are in our current physical landscape. And so would you welcome your director to the microphone?
Good morning. I am here to share all the wonderful news as it pertains to federal programs. I'm sure all of you have been watching the news and reading email. So how's it going? Throughout the day, the week, hour by hour, I think this is pretty much how you'll find any one of us in the office right now. So, just jump right on in. On June 30th, we received this communication from the U.S. Department of Ed, basically saying that there would be a freeze on most of our grants as weigh the importance of each grant. And of course, we shared that information with you as well. And so the funding sources that we're talking about right now are Title I, Part C, Title II, Title III, Title IV, Part A, and Part B. So that is the Title IV program that our office runs, as well as the 21st Century's program. So all of those programs right now are paused as we await the next steps. So let's get into what some of that looks like. So right now, you can see all of these titles that are paused and the amount of money that we're talking about nationally. For South Carolina, that's roughly $89 million funding. So where's the funds? You can figure out the acronym for that. That's basically what we're trying to guide ourselves through. The appropriations timeline is basically stating that by July 1st, we should be receiving funds, and they remain open through September 3 the following year. And we had a continuing appropriations and extension act that was passed March 15th. With that, what should have occurred, the 24 funds, 25, as well as 26 funds should be funded at the current levels that they were in the previous year. And as I'm saying, 24, 25, 26, please note that for DC, when they issue the funds, they're a year behind ours. So when we are talking about 26, Washington is calling those 25. Okay, but it's the same money. And right now, all of those funds and what will happen next are sitting with the Office of Management and Budget. We must call them OMB. So OMB's job right now is to develop and oversee the execution of all of our federal funds. And with the apportionment, the OMB has provided a plan of how to use the budget resources. And right now, they're in that process of really looking at the funds that agencies can obligate. Now, one of the sound bites that we received, it was in an interview that was actually with ABC. They said that this is an ongoing programmatic review of education funding. The initial findings have shown that many of these grant programs have been grossly misused to subsidize a radical left-wing agenda. For one case, New York Public Schools used English language acquisition funds to promote illegal immigrant advocacy organizations. And another, Washington State used funds to direct illegal immigrants towards scholarships intended for American students. And yet another, school improvement funds were used to conduct a seminar on queer resistance in the arts. As stated before, this is an ongoing programmatic review and no decisions have been made yet. So, with that being said, OMB is really diving deep into what they consider good use of funds. Whether those allegations are true or not, I'm not here to talk about all of that, but just to let you know, OMB stands right now. They're really looking through everything. That's part of our holdup with funds. They're trying to determine how much, or if any funds could be pivoted into those grants. Now, the next step is, where do we go from here? There are some states who have already told their districts how much funding they're getting. And how many of you have been in federal programs for a while? And we talked about submitting your plans and substantially approved. Those of you who are new to it, you're going to learn substantially approvable means that basically when you submit an application, you have fulfilled most of the requirements that need to be checked off, if you will, for your grant to be approved. There are some nuances in your grant, but we say maybe this particular activity needs to be tweaked or it's not allowable. But for the most part, you have a substantially approvable application. The reason that's always been so important is that it allows you to obligate your funds from July 1st moving forward, right? Some states have been operating business as usual, and they have allowed schools to submit their plans substantially approvable, and they receive their communication. Hey, it's been substantially approved. Go ahead and obligate. Now the entire state is on the hook, finding other funds to help those districts. South Carolina is not there. We are not at the point where we are going to accept Titles 2, 3, 4 applications to be approved and say it or and tell you to move forward. The reason why we don't have a GAN. A GAN is very important, and that aspect of what we do needs to be in place, because I don't believe South Carolina has the $89 billion sitting somewhere on the side that can cover the difference at this moment. So where are we going from here? We're going to continue to monitor everything that's going on. Do we want you to plan? Yes, we do. I am hopeful that as we move forward, we're going to hear more from Washington in the coming days that our grants will be funded. I have to remain cautiously optimistic, but also want to make sure that we look at this with a strong dose of reality of what can happen if the funds are not there. So what we're telling you to do is to look at your current funding. Look at what the impacts will be if you do not receive those funds in those titles, or if it's drastically reduced. I need you to review your applications and your budgets and consider what changes you can make moving forward. Your carryover, if you have it, is very important to you at this point. Look at your carryover and see whether that is going to help you support your programs. Review transfer options. If you have options where you can transfer some of your funds to other programs, you can also do that. We will be working very closely with you to transfer funds if you need to do so. We are currently looking at EdFlex options right now, which hopefully if we do the EdFlex, it will free up some of the restrictions to allow you to do more of your transfers, so more on that to come. And so if you can consolidate your active budget, that might also give you some assistance in the summer relief with some of what you do at the district level. And I will want to focus on number 9, which is review your current contracts. Okay, make sure you, I don't know what all you have in your plans, I've read some, but not every single one. But you know what's in your plan. You need to review your plans, look at your contracts that you have in those plans. I strongly suggest pausing, jumping into a brand new contract at this point until we know more. I know some vendors are going to be coming at you with, hey, we can give you a reduced rate in these uncertain times from now. And it's going to sound like a great deal, and it probably is a great deal, especially if you know money is coming. But right now, we just don't know. And so I would strongly urge you not to enter into a new contract until we know more with any vendors. Now, I know I have delivered wonderful news to you this morning. Our support beverages, whatever they may be, your thermos, I know your thermos has your favorite support beverage in it. Do not ask about mine. I joke, but I do want to say, guys, I know this is a tough time for you all right now. And I know that you're the right folk in this room right now to tackle this job. It's going to be tough, but we're going to be here to support you along the way, and we will try our best to come up with flexibilities. You know, I'm going to try to stick to the rules, but where we can be flexible to help you, we're going to do that. We're going to try our best to do what we can to help you along the way. I know you're going to have many questions as we move forward navigating this time, but call us, talk to us, let's try to work out whatever plan we can to keep everything going and to keep our wonderful children of South Carolina in their best possible scenarios. So thank you so much.
Thank you, Jewel. And so when we planned this training, I did not anticipate seeing this coming. We planned this training, we typically call this new coordinators training. And so I would have only, or the majority of just newbies sit in the house. And this year we decided we would move it to coordinators training because we felt like there's some new things that were coming out that all of you needed to know. And it was not related to what Jewel just spoke of. We'll get into all of those things, but the timing has fallen really well for all of you to be here. And as I look out across the crowd, I do see a lot of veterans still in the house. One of the first few slides that is my piece to present this morning is on being a coordinator. And so as I look out across the crowd and as she spoke to the current climate, notice that the veterans are taking lots of notes because they understand the gravity of what Jewel just explained. So in just a moment, if you are new to the business, going to speak to you in layman's terms about kind of where we are and what you can do, being new to the situation, because I know that the veterans who are here, they know how to go back and kind of where to get started. So if you are new, I want you to take a deep breath. You are called to such a time as this. Try not to take it back to church, although I am a pastor's wife. You sit in the seat for a reason. We sit in the seat for a reason. And what is the reason? The reason is the children. Sometimes we forget that. Sometimes it becomes task-oriented. Got to get this task done. I've got to get this completed. Check, 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 check. You are in a time frame where it is not about the task. It is about the children. And we're going to talk about how do I know what activities I really need to plan for in these times in which we live, and how do I know that those are the activities that we need to go with. We're going to talk about all of that. And so if you are new, I want you to take a deep breath, but I also want you to be present in the conversation today, because this is different than what you would typically come into, and your superintendent will probably be asking some questions of you after this training. So I want to make sure that we equip you with the knowledge to go back and speak as to what currently needs to be done. So welcome. One of the girls on my team said, Jennifer, you wore the light. It's kind of. Well, I did bring this flashy pink jacket, if that makes you a little more happy. I knew it would be cold in here, so. So here is our day one agenda. General information, we're going to talk about Title I. When we talk about Title I, with that comes the talk about equitable services, private schools, parent-family engagement. There's some pieces of it that are associated with the biggest block of money that we have. So we're going to get into those things. We're also going to talk about some fiscal stuff. So if you're a finance person in the house, that is great. If you are not, you're going to want to take some notes for your finance person so that you can go back and have some conversations there. And we're also going to talk a little bit about N&D. I have the N&D game. So we're going to do N&D like normal, but we just went through an audit with the U.S. Department of Ed for N&D. And so from that comes some new items that we have to do, some new things, some new channels we have to go through for not this funding, but to give us information for next year, even though I understand the uncertainty of what the next year will look like. But we have things we have to take care of for N&D. So Keisha will be coming towards the end of the day to talk to you about a survey you'll have to complete if you are a district that receives N&D funding. If you're not, hang around, just really listen so that you can kind of understand the thinking of the U.S. Department of Ed currently when it comes to audit. What is Title I? So if you're a brand new person and you come into this role and you're like, what the world is Title I? I hope that's not where you are. But Title I is actually the largest federal aid program for K-12 schools. And what is the purpose of Title I? We go back to that purpose. The purpose is to ensure that all students have a fair, equal, and significant opportunity to obtain a high-quality education and reach at a minimum proficiency, challenging state academic achievement standards and assessments. That is the purpose. So as you get ready to think through amendments, things like that, we go back to the purpose of Title I. What is its purpose? It's for all students to have a fair, equal, and significant opportunity to be successful. And the purpose is children. Well, Jennifer, what is my role? Okay. If you are new to the role of coordinator, you might not just be a Title I coordinator. These days, that is few and far between. Your title probably comes with other grants as well. You might have received 1, 2, 4, 5, ND, et cetera, federal programs person. So I will say Title I coordinator or federal programs director, whatever your title is. What is my role? Basically, you need to be knowledgeable of Title I and the law and EDGAR and all of these things, but you also need to be up to speed on what is happening currently, things that Jewel just talked about. I do understand that it's summer sand season, and that's wonderful to be on vacation. But the time is now to get the head in the game about school starting and what we need to do for the kids. So make sure that you're up to date on the latest in education reform efforts, that you understand curriculum and instruction. And why is that? You need to understand it because whenever you get ready to submit activities in a Title I plan, the activities need to really be able to move the needle for these kids. Okay? So I'm going to speak to some physical stuff for just a moment. When you get ready as a Title I person, you're writing the Title I plan. You have to focus on outcomes. So let me look at the activities in the plan, and let me look at the evaluations and the outcomes of these activities. And in a little while, we're going to talk about the evaluation process for this, but one of your roles is to take a look at is what we are paying for. Are we getting the bang for the buck? If not, then we need to amend the plan. Or for the next year's plan, we might need to take that out, put something else in. The amendment deadline for gaps for right now is August the 4th. Okay, that is for gaps. That is for Jennifer and Sarah to approve whatever is gaps. You put an amendment on August 5th, I can't approve it. Okay, I can say, do you want it back? Do you want it to sit? But finance sets that amendment deadline for gaps, and so it's August 4th. That being said, that means Jim's amendments need to be done before August 4th. Okay, because the ladies on my team need to be able to review that. If it needs to come back to you, there needs to be time for that. And if it's approved, then I need time to review as a second level review. So for any revisions that you're working on right now, keep that amendment deadline in mind. And then, gems and gaps, is going to sit idle. For a new person, listen to me. You need to tell finance is going to sit still from August 5th until August 15th. Then August 16th, you can start doing amendments. So there's this little window of time that it will just sit. Then it will reopen. There's many things that I would say a little bit later on, but for the new person, please understand that you have to work with finance around the time parameters we are given for our finance office process and claims to be done like they should be. When August 16th comes, you can amend again. If I were you, I would with finance. With year 2 of the 25 grant, how much money do we have? You need to know what you're working with. In practicality, let's talk about Title IV. You need to work with 25 Title IV because I can't approve 26 Title IV. That makes sense? But you need to do that later. You don't have to do it right here before August 4th. But when it opens back up, you and finance need to sit and talk about where you are with the second year money, carryover money for every grant. Right now, there is no 26 Title II. So when it opens back up and get into a little bit later on in the fall, I'd say September, look at how much money you have in Title II. If you need to make amendments at that point, be reminded that Jules said be careful going into contracts with vendors. I do have GAN 26 3. I have a 26 N&D GAN and Title I. Okay. So for Title IV, you can put it in gyms. You can put your plan in gyms, but it's going to sit for a little bit until a few weeks pass and maybe we know more. A few days pass. We know more. Yeah, we're in a waiting game. So know your role as a new person. Understand it's not a time to be timid. You're going to have to ask questions. You're going to have to go into finance, and you're going to have conversations about where you are. Okay, where are we? You're going to have to look at where you are against the activities in the plan. Okay, what activities are totally expended? Which activities have we not claimed on yet? Where is money that we can work with? I would encourage you to have a game plan on the side. You're going to have to understand what's in your plans. As a new person, let's just get real. It's summertime. I've been on vacation. I'm new into this role July 1st. I'm not really sure what's in this plan yet. You better get to know it quickly. What's in it? Is it teacher salaries? Is it class size reduction? Is it professional development? And let's be real, is the professional development high quality? What do we have to have for these kids? Okay, we'll talk about evaluations here in a little bit. So I'm trying to be honest with you and speak to you as a new person. Sometimes being brand new, the person before me wrote that plan. Jody Wright wrote that plan. I know it's great, and I'm the new person. It is great. She has moved on. She did a great job. But now you gotta learn what's in that plan and why it's there. And all of that comes back to need. What do we need? What do we have to have? So my team is here to support you, to help you look at where you are, especially August 16th and forward. Okay, as you start to take a look at, do I need to do amendments? Talk about the 15% carryover. Talk about all of that here in a little bit, but I just really wanted to stress to you that understand your role. Okay, people are going to come to you as the expert, whether you're new or not. Okay, if you're new, you can reach out to our team. Okay, we'll have a program manager that can hold hands with you. And you can have a mentor in the state. Okay, if you're Anderson 2, you might need a mentor from Anderson 1. We can also do that. This is a good opportunity for you to talk to each other about where you are, what you're doing, and how we can move forward. Typically on this slide, I would say things that I'm not going to really get into today, like speaking to Title II specific or Title IV specific or whatever. Right now, I feel like you need to look at one and understand what you got in one and how that supports the children. And you need to look at your carryover for all these other grants until we know more. These are some key components to the grant implementation: planning and evaluating. And I'm really speaking right now to evaluating. But with love. You got stuff in your plans that's not really moving the needle. Cut the fluff. Figure out what the fluff is. What is working? And what can we do for these children? Plan development. What does it look like? It's not just on you to make all these decisions. Okay, you got to come to the table with other people, stakeholders. Okay? And you have to sit with them and talk about where you are in a timely manner. What are the needs of this district? Okay. You're there, you understand what the needs are, but you should also have other people at the table that can contribute to the conversation as well. Principals, district leaders, data people, curriculum people, they come to the table to talk. You're going to want to keep a sign-in sheet, an agenda, meeting minutes, all of that associated with your conversations. That's for monitoring purposes as well. And your needs assessment should tie directly to the activities within your GEMS plan. So I'll be honest with you, when you write 26 Title I, and it comes into our office, let's just talk about Theresa Brewer for a minute. You have Theresa. When I walk around the corner, she has two monitors. On one screen, I see the needs assessment, and on the other screen, I see the activities. She's tying the two. What is the need against the activity I'm reading? If she can't find it, she sends it back, because everything has to go back to the need. Okay, so keep that in mind. Okay, the LEA plan must ensure that it will ensure that migratory children and former migratory children are selected to receive Title I services on the same basis as other children. Provide equitable services to private school children. I don't know right now if your private schools are aware of the situation that we are in. You get ready to plan, they need to know. Okay? Because this involves private schools as well, if they're participating. Coordinate, integrate Title I services with other educational services as MLs, children with disabilities, migratory and homeless children and youth. In a little while, Merle will come and Kim and they'll talk about the homeless set aside for Title I. So that, especially if you're new, you can understand what is allowable for you to set aside for homeless in that reserve. Designate a point of contact with DSS. Establish procedures for transporting foster care students to the school of origin. And ensure that teachers and paraprofessionals working in Title I programs meet state certification and licensure requirements. Evaluation, strengthening your investments. So you identify the need, you choose evidence-based interventions, plan and support implementation, monitor and reflect on results, and set and evaluate goals throughout the year. Together, these steps drive continuous improvement and support better student outcomes. Examine and reflect. Now, we have had the state to submit evaluations in certain of our programs, especially Title IV. Martha will talk about that tomorrow because it's time to submit some information on 24. Currently, with that grant, we have to post outcomes. So how is the district meeting the goals that they have listed that that grant is supporting? And so you're in this situation of examining and evaluating and reflecting. Did it work? I've done Title I for years. And as a program manager and learning the districts, I will say that I could tell if the plan was last year's plan. That's not fair to just roll it over and do nothing with it. So if you are new, you can roll it over. Then it needs to be edited based on the current needs. This goes back to the Title I coordinator role. It's not a task, it's children and its need. How do you know what to do? You've got to examine it. You've got to evaluate it. You've got to reflect on it. And you need to determine the outcomes. Focus on your outcomes. Ensure that your data is valid and valuable. Is the data strong and accurate in determining that? Because honestly, if you say, well, the data is not supporting XYZ anymore, the board or the superintendent may say, well, let me see the data. You got to make sure that it's valid and solid and accurate. And this is a nice little slide for you, especially if you are new. Questions to ask as you get ready to do that. Did the activity achieve its goal? Is it making a difference in the targeted areas? Did the program work? When you get ready to take a look at where you are with everything, and you're evaluating the activities in your plan, and you're getting a plan on the side. what needs to happen. My team, when we review amendments, we're probably gonna ask hard questions around the current climate. You need to be thinking things like, what's most important? Understand children love to go on field trips. But trying to have somebody standing in front of the room. These are things to think about. You think about professional development, you want to send somebody somewhere, that's fine. But if Title II doesn't come in, is it worth the money in Title I, or do you need it in something else? So I want you to keep in mind that you've got to support your teachers too. You need to retain them. So when you get ready to think about conferences and such, do 15 people have to go? Or can 2 go? You need to think about where you can cut cost too and still get the bang for your buck. So if you send amendments later on, know that questions will come from my team as they look at it against the current climate and against reasonableness. I don't want there to be any surprises. We're not in the situation of doing things as we've always done them. Keep these things in mind. Use your evaluation to confirm your results and adjust as needed. They have to say, this is what the data says. Pull the data. This is another slide for you about decision making for future investments. You want to make an informed decision. Adjust your strategies to maximize long-term success. Should I have somebody coming in for a one-day pop? It costs me $12,000. I will ask you a hard question. Reasonable against what we're getting out of it and how we're supporting people in that room. Raise your hand if you were a teacher at some point. If you've ever been a teacher, you understand how much support they need. And so you now sit in a role to make that happen and support those kids. Any questions for evaluating your success? So as a new person, I would print the slide, I would set it beside me, and as I evaluate what is in current plans, I would ask myself these questions. Okay, so we've scripted them for you. Let them guide your reflection and your decision making. If you're new and you want to be able to speak solidly when you sit with stakeholders, prep yourself by these questions. This moment, Greg is going to come and he's going to talk about some of the fiscal requirements, like comparability and maintenance of effort. All of these things have to be done with 26 Title I. And so in a minute, I'll come back to talk about supplement, not supplements. But if you are a new person, you go into the 26 Title I plan, you're going to see certain sections around some of this information. So he's going to get into the weeds of some of this. Okay, maintenance of effort first. This is Greg King. He's one of, can I say, our oldest auditors? Will you be mad? He's well seasoned, and he's got on his tiger paw. For the clips and things. Thank you, Greg.
Thank you, Jennifer. Good morning. Any gonna get it? Good morning. said, it's not nice. Never seen that. So it's gonna be a little bit of a dry topic, but to keep it interesting, it directly affects your funders. And you can hear it. Because again, as Jennifer said, it's all about me. First, as by way of introduction, there's a great game with consolidated oversight monitoring. But the agency 11 years and years since part of been monitoring for over 20 years. That's it. I love it, especially we're on a team. Don't stand up, please. This consolidated oversight team, plus our experience from the diversity, inclusion, and access team. Don't stand up, please. That's Palmer, Peggy Scott. Do not have Daniel Hatch, he's granted, and a team new care provider will be in shortly. And we have Burley Wright and Jim Murphy from the diversity, access, and inclusion. We all know Joel and Steve. Maintenance effort accountability. Jennifer told me that we're going to, I don't know if I get this all in, I'm about 2 hours about we're going to try. That's true. So 15-minute overview. We're not going to the detail of a lot of slides. Just presentation will not be finished. Not very. Anybody got maintenance effort accountability for this first time? Look at your hand, your mother friend. Going back, getting it done. It's a couple of years get used to it. You do it once a year. It takes a while to get familiar. One key takeaway we want to press upon you all, Jennifer, especially others also, is cooperation, collaboration. Maintenance effort is a test of visual barriers, money, where's the money? Time and work. Accountability is a test of barriers for staff, where's happening? Do answers with human resources and finance. And they will get it done. We have questions about you one, that we don't know it's an activity that happens in the finance department. You know, she had to be clear. Maintenance effort is a federal requirement that requires grant recipients and or sub-recipients to maintain a certain level of state and local fiscal effort eligible for full participation in federal grant funding. There's money, right? Jennifer's going to come back and talk about supplement lots and things. And its effort, accountability are based on that premise. Having to rely on state local funding, provide children with quality education. The federal funding is in addition to the state local. So, and therefore we back up federal grants. Make sure you're paying and that's what you state local funding. And you're not complaining. Let's get ahead. So that you may receive housing funds or maybe on the head where you need to store. In addition, state and local funds. Sure that some recipient, you know, federal funds, please, local funds. And ensure that some recipients spend their state local funds for the same activities that we provide. Meeting maintenance effort. Meeting maintenance effort is based on 90% of the previous year's people. We have to provide the audited financial. A lot of other people this year, in Washington, starting to review minutes notice come in. See here, I think it's a lot of distraction come in. So looking at, well, okay. This is a spreadsheet that is on our website to calculate maintenance bill. This is what's in gems. The I'm get a little closer because I cannot read this. Where we see errors. For steps 3 and 4. On the top, you've got all the calculations, that all comes off the audited financial. We just finished this fiscal year, school year 25. This year, Illinois Extension Attorney California, August in budget varies, but we just finished up fiscal year 25. Are your audited financial reports? It will be done until November, December. So we have to go back to 2024. These are the areas I'm seeing so far. Step 3, 2024. Step 4 is the second preceding year, which is 2023. Please make a note of that and check your submission for submitting. That come within 90%. If you look over here, this number on step 4 has to be within 90% of step 3. And it is, this is already calculated. If you come within that number, you amend it, that you're giving you 10%, it will not be 50%. And then you get nothing. Questions on it? Get a little off script. You do your submit a plan this year. Make sure you use 2024 for step 3. 2023 for step 4. And submit your 2024 audit number, additional documents, and assessment for data. There's other areas I'm seeing, probably have. Yes, it's just, we're a little bit of them. Any questions on this? Yes. Step 4 should be 22, 23. Okay, thank you. Others? Email me, failed to meet, and that's after testimony every 5 years under this. If you failed to meet, minutes after the third year, and failed to meet in the previous 5 years. Waivers of your exposure. One is a normal waiver. Pre-invested, where you submit an application to us, and we have to submit to the USCD. Wait your head. Here, under that's a guarantee, one waiver, to avoid having to submit a regular waiver. Save that for you. Get something else. We have no authority to waive maintenance that comes from the USCD. They're getting tighter. They look for exception on multiple circumstances, such as a disaster. So it is over, it doesn't have any, this sort of see, find out the financial resources in the state. They can look for things, bad. New thing they give you is may include a change in organizational structure in the administration so much subjective documents, but penalties can be steep. In the previous example of English maintenance that were filed, 5%, you come in 85%. You're 5% short. All of your asset funding. And you don't qualify for it. All your asset funding will be your 5%. That's bad. Good work. That. The number you should have been is where you got to get. You're not going to get 85% funding. You got if you 90% funding. So you got to get yourself out of the hole. That's our work for you. I will, this is kind of hard, but it's a response that our senior USCD group movement was looking for experience. Our big request, response to receive USCD, district funding accountability or maintenance and effort. It's a value and spiritual language. That's their standard. This market. We have tendencies. Management. Yeah. For your finance. Yeah, you go to the project and go off. Just be easier to grab. Just be good finance. Can't cut that. It's, they can see, don't bring up the bill, you support this bill. It works. You're going to review it, and it's an investment form, and on website. Everything consists on year to year. There's some guidance I'm going to recommend at the end of this live link that you have access to. Unrated guidance. Work assessment. Consistency. Then you can all of a sudden 30% up this year. And that's it. You got 9%. You only said anomalies. Want to see it, just let it. Get that 10% up. Some of that, 8%. That's fine. But, capital allocation really throw it all. Again, it's something people review it and buy it anywhere without resistance. And that's what I'm here to all the time. But to have our list going forward to the meeting, make sure you can prepare ready. For scheme. Any questions on maintenance of that? Yeah, if you go right head around it, that's fairness is that. Why do we calculate comparability? That's something that said we had every year your seat title, every state seat title, important dates. It needs to be two names, but they give us time and we get you comparable. I don't know how this is really. I mean, if I don't have a good game, we get to do it. It's pretty good. There are a couple of exemptions to comparability. What's the over grade bid? What I learned in your medical high school, you're comparing the other. Parent numbers like the non-title was on page 5 of the medical school bill. Title 1, page 5 of the medical school. You only have one page 5. You have one large school and one small school. Yeah, okay. I agree with that. That's great reference. That is an excellent, excellent resource. That is important, several things put together. Well, that is for learning part of the education. Taking up and that. That will really help. This is a plan. The upper building test, we determined which test to be, during the pandemic, I've done every test with, this biggest, issue, getting up. The student teacher ratio is on this first definition.